studio for this one and not for StreamYard. So, yeah, not sure if it's working or not, but, oh, yay, there is someone here. Okay, I'm not alone or just talking to myself or looking all kinds of crazy. Hey, Desiree, how are you? And I also realized that I unfortunately I'm on at the same time as Marcus over at Debt Free Dad, and I absolutely love him, and I love his channel, and I love his videos, and so I'm actually feeling kind of bad because I'm usually there for his lives, but, it was a time that I guess, yeah, worked for me, on things, but, hi, Lori, how are you? I feel like I saw both of you just not too long ago on Sabrina's channel. Oh, good morning, Victoria. Hey, welcome. Thanks for thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Lori, I know, but I tell you what, you are so strong because all of the support that you provide to so many other people comes back to you tenfold. It comes back to you in spades, absolutely. So you've you've got so much going on and going for you and all of that. And yeah. Oh God, I miss you know what? I miss football games. I really do. And because we don't have high school sports in the same way here that we have in the US. So Friday night football games, or Saturday day football games, depending on where you're at, and all of that. Yeah, really interesting that there's that much of a difference. I mean, they have sport here. Don't get me wrong. We've got heaps of sport, but so much of it is outside of yeah, it's outside of school and really truly done extracurricularly. So yeah, well, you and you and I have had more than a few discussions about the stress that comes with focusing so much on, you know, sometimes you got to let the cards fall where the cards fall and just put your trust elsewhere. And sometimes when we can't walk, other people carry us, and you carry a lot of people and a lot of people are carrying you. That's really a lot of that's all it comes down to is we Chris was really good at reminding me of this a couple weeks ago when I was on here all blubbery and such of that, we focus on what we can control and we let go of, things that we cannot, because if we focus so much on those boulders, you know, few of us are strong enough to move boulders by ourselves. But when you have a whole bunch of friends with you that are moving those different little pebbles that are around, then all those small hands make mighty, mighty warriors and are able to are really able to move things and create miracles. I think that's kind of one of the things that I've learned. Um, and also I think also realizing that, sometimes we can't fight everything on our own. As much as we want to, or as stubborn as we want to be, we that's why we have friends. That's really kind of the purpose, I think, of having friends and trusting, trusting people, trusting other people. Really. Uh yeah. And all of that. But I could probably wax and wane poetic on that for hours at a time because, well, I've done that before. I can talk a lot. But what I wanted to get on and talk about today or tonight, depending on where you're at. If you're in Australia, then it's Saturday morning, and if you're in Queensland, it's actually nice outside. It's not raining. If you're in Melbourne, if you're in the Victoria area, we're sending all of our thoughts and prayers as um, you guys are facing some really, really bad flooding right now, which has kind of been the story of the year, I think, for Australia is how much um, how much rain can we have in a year. But I've 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 ha- I'm not making any videos right now because I'm not cash stuffing anymore. It's not that I'm not saving cash or anything else. We've just had really crazy mm, some really crazy kind of over the top things happening in our life. Um, some directly, some kind of indirectly, but um, to a point where I'm not comfortable having the amount of cash, even though um, like a lot of it was placeholders and such, but not comfortable anymore really talking about how much money we make, how much we budget, how much we cash stuff out in a public, out in a public forum. And there are legal issues and such involved. It's to a point that I actually had to order and get new license plates for my car because my number plates were being reported by a particular individual, despite that I could show that my car had been in my driveway and such. So, because I'm not able to do the cash stuffing anymore and talking about all of that, just more for protective reasons than yeah, for the most part, just yeah, protecting myself and my family and my dogs, which are my family, from all of that. And so I decided that I'm too chicken to make vlogs, and I'm not too chicken to record a video because I record them all the time. I just never post them up. So I figured if I start going live and talking about some of these different topics around, around money, around budgeting, etc., that might be a way that I can continue to contribute, I guess, to this community. Oh, yeah, Lori, it's some people are just, they're a whole different level, and when I saw I w and some of you guys saw when I came on a few weeks ago and, like, just in tears crying and such like that. Um, it's really because I'm I'm okay with people criticizing what I do or how I do things. I am not okay, um, I'm not okay with people, making personal attacks. I guess that would be to, the way to phrase it. I'm not okay with people telling me that they know where I live, and I'm not okay with people telling me they know what I do or what I make and such. And it's not that it's just it's the most random series of events that I never thought that I would ever run into, combined with what I've done on the side, right? Because I started this channel initially, my intent was to really discuss my journey with my medical issues and um and going through that. But a big portion of that was also taking care of handling our finances and thinking in terms of um, ensuring that my family is in the best possible place when, because there's no if. I mean, all of us die, right? Let's just be honest about that. Some of us just know that our timeline might be sooner than others. And that was all my original intent. I focused more on the budgeting part because that was an area that I was most comfortable with. It's easy it's easier for me, it's easier to talk about my finances than about my terminal illness because I've been budgeting for since I think I started following Dave Ramsey in 2004. And that was, yeah, karma. I let karma do what karma does. But I started budgeting in 2004, and the reason that I started budgeting was because I and I know that they're talking about this in April budgets, and I need to give credit to her. She has so many people talking about our different budgeting journeys. It's ODBJ, but everybody tends to think ODB for, ODB. But if you see hashtag ODBJ on YouTube, go and look at those channels and look at those stories. April Budgets does it. I know that Budgeting Just Because, so Chris at Budgeting Just Because does that, and quite a few others. Um, and that's really where oh, Victoria, just Google Old Dirty, and then you can figure out the last word is not is it starts with a B, but not um, an itchy type, more of an Asterly type, and you'll find out who ODB who ODB was. He has since passed away. Wu-Tang Clan as well is another one that you can put in. But yeah, Lori, original Wu-Tang. Um, but yeah, but when I so I started budgeting in 2004. I started budgeting in 2004 I when I got into graduate school and I moved with my son as a single parent to from North Dakota to Nebraska. And I was on a graduate stipend, which if you've been a grad student in the US, a graduate student stipend is oh, the WAP. Sorry. Um, Now my mind is just seeing like the dance and all the TikTok videos. But a graduate student stipend at that time, it was actually considered generous because it was the early 2000s, and it was $1,182 per month that I was living off of. For myself, my son, Gary had moved with us because I had met him in North Dakota. We were kind of dating. He said, "I'll move with you to Nebraska." I was like, "I'm not really sure about that." And so he was in a different apartment. I was in our own. Um, I know that it's an interesting song. Sorry. I'm going to get distracted by the chat. If you have never been to my channel, hi, my name is Erin. I have the attention span of a butterfly. I just go on different tangents and such. Oh, I have to do my Marcus moment because I call these the doctor is in. The reason I call these the doctor is in because I am a psychologist. I do have a PhD. You can call me doctor. I am not your psychologist. I am not your doctor. And so that's why I call it the doctor is in, because I just kind of take that background that I have there. Ah, Marlene. See, my ride or die, 16 minutes late, 18 minutes late. Damn, 19 minutes. That's kind of yeah, no, but that's actually it's because I have that title, Lori. I have that title because I learned how to budget. I got that title because I learned how to manage my money. I paid off that debt because I learned how to do all of that. And I have had ups, downs, inside, outside, all around in that entire process. I've been I mean, so I started in I so almost 20 years, almost 2 decades that I've been budgeting. And I a lot of times get asked, how do you keep doing that? Doesn't it get boring? Do you ever want to stop? Um, w- do you even need to still budget now, right? Because I make a lot more now than I did when I started budgeting. That's been put on public display. There is pressure and there is labor involved with budgeting. That it is there, especially if you are in the budgeting community. And it's not so much I don't think that we put pressure on each other. We put pressure on ourselves. Cat! Cat, hi! Cat, you CrossFit queen, by the way. You are doing so amazing. The just the way you have the way you have upped your you have just improved so much in your strength and your mentality and some of the wads that you do, I just look at that and I go, "Wow, I was never able to even be close to that when I was doing CrossFit." You're absolutely amazing. Hey Jojo, nice to see you too. Um, so yeah, there, squirrel butterfly moment because yeah, that's what I do. But yeah, there is there is a lot of pressure. We see what other people do. And we I think tend to also take on a lot of that and say, that's what I should be doing. That's what I should be doing. That's what I should be doing. I should be maybe this stringent with my budget. I should be this restrictive. I love Dave Ramsey. I started off with Dave Ramsey, right? Beans and rice, rice and beans. That's how I learned cash envelopes, because that's what I needed at the time. But it sometimes becomes so labor intensive, I think, and we're looking at so many other people, right? So tell me if you've ever done this, where you have seen what somebody else does with their budget and go, "Oh, I don't do that. I be doing that?" And then you go and you look at another person to see if they're doing what the one that you saw was doing, to see if you should be doing that yourself. Or and you go down a rabbit hole, and really what you start doing is, it's so here's where the psychology comes in. You basically fall into a trap of a confirmation bias. You look for information to confirm what it is you think that you should be doing is what you should be doing. And it's not that a confirmation bias is bad, right? Because we can say that we should be budgeting. And so we look to confirm that information by looking at other people who are budgeting. And you're like, oh, this person budgets, that person budgets, that person budgets. Oh, okay. That's a healthy level of confirmation. It can go to an unhealthy level though, when you are looking at extremes. Exactly, Lori. Same income, same lifestyles, not like I could not compare my budget to the Kardashians, right? I don't I don't make them they've probably made more money in the 24 minutes that I've been on here than I will make in 5 years. That's the truth. They probably live in a different area. So, Liz and Les, I notice on here. So, if you guys don't know Liz and Les, you need to go and you need to watch her channel because she is my she's my opposite twin, basically, in that she's from Australia and she lives in the US. And she has had all of the reverse experiences that I have had, from and it's so funny because, we've never actually talked. We've only had chat conversations and such, but I love that she still pronounces tomato, tomato, which is how we pronounce it, in Australia. Basil instead of basil. But um, the the discussions around um, it is. Liz, I absolutely love you, and she's got an amazing son who is a swimmer who has a massive appetite as well, so talk about something in terms of making you not want to budget. We look at those different things, and we say, "Okay, I should be doing that, I should be doing that, I should be doing that, I should be doing that," and we forget, I think, about what we should be doing for us, what we should be doing for ourselves, what we should be doing for our family. And that we see, I felt like I fell into a lot of different traps of, um, sometimes I just felt exhausted trying to do my budget because I took it away from the simplicity. I forgot that budgets are supposed to be simple. They're not supposed to be restrictive. And it's a budget, like a budget is like a diet. Um and what are the first 3 letters of a diet? Die, right? That's the usual the phrase that that goes with that. And hands up if you've ever gotten so frustrated with your budget that you're just like, screw it, I'm going shopping. I am going to go and spend everything that I have and maybe some money that I don't have because that is going to make me feel better because I am so stressed out by how much I am focusing on my budget. It's almost to a point where sometimes I think we get obsessed with our budget. I don't even get obsessed over my dishes, right? Like, if I spent as much time cleaning my dishes that I spent working on my budget at times, I would probably have nothing left to my dishes because I would have washed them away entirely. I've had that much focus there. Because the other thing that happens, I think, sometimes with a budget is you can hyper focus on it to the extent that you use it as a distraction from other things going on in your life. And that's actually kind of what brings me to, like I said, I started budgeting out of necessity in 2004 following Dave Ramsey. I did that all along. I stopped budgeting for a while, and then when I got sick, well, I can't say when I got sick because technically I've always been sick. But when it was verified, um, and made real that I was sick, budgeting became a really good distraction. I had something else to focus on. Just like we will focus on cleaning, right? There is no better time for me to clean my house than when I am upset with my husband. And many of you have, many of you guys hear about Gaz and you've met Gaz. He's been on here and such like that. I love him to death, but I'm not going to lie. We've got a real marriage. He pisses me off sometime. And when he pisses me off, the best way for me not to just go, "Grr," is to clean. I I will glare at him while I clean, as in, "You know what? I'm having to clean this house because of you." Budgeting is the same way. See, okay, I'm okay, not alone in that one. It's but that's what we do is we we transfer, we redirect. So instead of focusing on one thing, we put all of our attention into another thing. And when we put all of our intention attention into that other thing, it actually becomes a distraction and it keeps us from focusing on what we're trying to avoid. It becomes an avoidance tactic. And I will put my hand up that I'm guilty. I'm guilty of doing that. And when I do that, it actually contributes more to the burnout that comes with it because it, at times it would shift from, being something that I was doing to help my family to being something that would distract me or take me away from my family or take me away from my reality. Uh, so some signs or indications that you are in a healthy place with my budget. So signs that I am in a healthy place is when I can talk to other people about it and I'm okay with talking to other people about it. That I am not constantly defending what it is that we are doing or why we are doing it. That I can if somebody so back in the early days, I cannot believe early days was almost 20 years ago. That's not early days. It is to me. But when I actually had an easier time explaining to people why I would not do additional things or why I would not be buying additional things. I mean, like we've got Christmas coming up, okay? And I feel like I feel bad for any of you that have a teenage child who wants a new iPhone because the new freaking iPhone, at least the price here, is $2,100. $2,100 for a phone. When I was a kid, I wanted a Cabbage Patch doll. And that was probably, hard enough. So, when I was comfortable explaining, not so much defending, but explaining, this is why I spend this much here. This is why I spend this much here. Um, it's it's actually more of a challenge now when people go, "Oh, but you make this much," right? Because I work at a university. All you have to do is it's government. You can look up online and easily find out how much I make. And people always go, "Oh, yeah, but you make." It doesn't matter how much I make. Just because I make more, I don't have to spend more. That's actually the harder part, I think, now. Um, and getting people to understand that. So, but for Liz, for your question of, signs that you're in a healthy place is I think when you basically drop down to having 0 Fs, yeah? It's when you are comfortable saying, "You know what? My money, my money, my choice, and all of the other elements around it, you don't need to know about," is is a big one. I think also ensuring that you are not locked in to, um, to your budget, to where you are comfortable making changes as well. Because one of the other questions that I had asked, I think it also comes into knowing what is enough. How much is enough? How much is enough? Not so much for necessities, because Shannon, this one I'll probably have on replay, but you can still listen in and yeah, we love you, Shannon. Both my son and husband were discussing when they were getting the new iPhone, laughed out loud and told them the dream is real. Yeah. Oh, oh, hun. All three with strep again? Okay, Shannon. Okay, all of you, please send prayers to Shannon for her and her family because three with strep and then RSV at the same time. That's a lot. That's We're always praying for you, Shannon. You know that. You got a prayer circle all the way around the world, always lifting you up. Yeah, that price on the price on the iPhones are crazy. Liz, yeah, so with obsessive tendencies, looking for goals. Yeah, so here's the thing, I think, Liz, is that you you need to set your goals for yourself outside of the essentials, right? Essentials, and I'm never ever going to disagree with Dave Ramsey on this. Your four walls, your food, your utilities, those are always, always, always going to be the priority. And then from there, you set your own boundaries. And I can understand that, especially with a teenage child and a teenage son. I've had one of those myself. I sometimes refer to my husband as my other child. They and it is difficult. I think that's the other part that gets us really, I think particularly as women, that makes budgeting more labor intensive. Sorry, sky raisin. But uh my dog will get it. But the other thing that makes things more budgeting, like, labor intensive is that how do we get our children or our partners to understand and to be on board and to because we can usually get to a point to where we're like, okay, I'm no longer competing with the Joneses. I'm no longer trying to keep up. I'm doing what's best for my family, what's best for all of us. And then our children come in and they start talking about, well, this person has this and this person has that and this person has that and this person got this. I mean, that's I forget. I mean, I saw a 6-year-old that had a better phone than I have, right? I mean, like here's I have the old school, like I still have an iPhone 10, cracked screen. Oops. Cracked screen and everything. It's going to show you everything there. Whatever. Somebody likes something on my Etsy shop, but cracked screen and everything. It's tiny, right? I mean, it's like it's not even bigger than my hand. The new phones are like way bigger than my hand. I see 6-year-olds that have better phones than I have. I um I have a niece who she is 5 years old and her mother just bought her first Chanel bag. What freaking who needs that at that age? I mean, it took me forever to get my first, and a lot of people don't even like. So you see that, and I think that that's also where a lot of pressure comes from in terms of budgeting, because seeing how much people need to budget for their kids as well is another way that we just get emotionally exhausted and and those those mental those mental balances that you need to have of the trade-offs of do I do this or do I do this? Because we want our children to have the best possible experiences that they can have while they are growing up, right? That because once those opportunities pass, they will never get that opportunity for that experience back ever again, right? High school graduation, if they get to that point, only happens once. Um, school excursions, they're, kind of hit and miss on some of those because there are some things that they can do at a later time. But I the cost of kids these days is I mean, it was expensive, at least in the US for me, going through high school because I went to a specialized school, a school of creative and performing arts. I was a dance major. I did classical ballet my entire life. I did cheerleading. I did drill team. So all of those sports, all of that added up. I don't even know how much my parents spent on all of that. And so um, I actually got a bit lucky in that. I mean, I don't wanna say lucky, it's actually I'm actually kinda sad about it, but my son wasn't all too interested in sport or extracurricular activities or anything else. His thing is gaming, and so he plays video games, he streams, he makes money on his streaming, works his job and such like that, and that's where we ended up investing, some money for him, which if you've got a child that plays video games and plays online and streams online, that's it's not inexpensive there either. I mean, just their chairs alone are ridiculous amounts of money. But that that does get us children are probably one of the number one ways that get us to reassess our budget. Like, there's a lot of discussion around inflation and such. And, inflation is real. It's real here in Australia, it's real there in the US as well. And I think that that's making budgeting even more labor intensive as well. A gamer, a photographer, and an artist. Oh, yeah, empty every bank account there. Support it that's photography is my best friend. My best friend, was very much, into photography, and she still does do photography. Desiree, I had mentioned earlier, she's the one that lives in Chattanooga. Like, full on old school dark room prints and developing and such. And yeah, that's another big challenge that trying to figure out how do we because we want to support our children. And the worst thing, the hardest thing to say as a parent is we can't afford that. At least for me, has always been one of the hardest things. And then it switched from we can't afford that to I actually just had this conversation with Gaz. Um it's easier to say it's not in the budget than to say we can't afford that. Because if you say it's not in the budget, that means then you can change that narrative to where, okay, we can budget for that. And that's where I think that, budgeting is really helpful. And that is also, I think, kind of where you flip the switch, so to speak, of the the wording that is used. Like, I never thought about the difference between the two. Like, I had always said, "No, no, we don't have the money for that. We can't afford that." And Gary just like it was literally just a week and a half ago we were at Bunnings and he wanted something and I was like, "No, we don't have the money for that." And we got home and later on he's like, "Oh, here's a discussion for you. Here's something that we need to talk about." So he's actually going to come on and roast me in a live of things that I say to him around budgeting that he doesn't like, and saying that we don't have the money for that or we can't afford that are the two things that rub him raw the most, because sometimes we do have the money, it's just budgeted for something else. And so I think when we when we change it to say, when we change it from thinking about just uh credits and debits on a spreadsheet to thinking in terms of how do we actually assess what our cash flow is? How do we actually assess our level of flexibility in that? Because, yeah, not in the budget for, yeah, for a costume. It's saying not in the budget is instead of we can't afford it. Um, we technically can, but yeah, that's it's It is it I think it is a challenge. So I'm just looking at the conversation between Kat and Veronica, and Lori around, Halloween costumes and using that phrase of "It's not in the budget." It is it is a challenge because that's the other thing that happens with budgeting, right? What is one of those, oh, it's a common meme or quote. You see it on Instagram and such like that all the time of, oh, I don't care if I've got $20,000 in my savings account. If my checking account says, $0, I'm broke, right? Or that an emergency fund is not for buying this, or this. Oh, and that gets me thinking around, the phrase, emergency fund. Can we just go back to calling it a savings account? And that you have a savings account and you can use it for whatever you want to use it for, even if it's not an emergency. Replenish it. If you are able to set up some sort of, consistently sending $10 to that or doing your roundup or whatever. But saying that, oh, well, you have this money over here, but it's not to be used for this and it's not to be used for that and it's not to be used for that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought that a budget was meant for you to tell your money where to go instead of your money telling you where it's going to go. Why are we, falling into these, I guess, and that goes back to the pressure of, well, so and so said that if you have it labeled an emergency fund, you can only use it for an emergency. Well, what if Erin's emergency is that if Erin doesn't have caffeine, she is probably going to need that to get her out of jail. Then I'm going to use that emergency fund to get myself caffeine instead of bailing myself out of jail. Like, it's it's w I don't know that it's something that has been looked into. When I looked into a lot around, like, budget burnout, a lot of it was around being too restrictive with your budget or, having cash flow problems, which I am not negating cash flow problems or 100%. You know, cash flow problems are an issue. And sometimes what you make doesn't cover what you need to spend. And that's going to create challenges. Sometimes in order to live, and I'm sure I'm going to be struck down by the lightning of Dave Ramsey right here. Sometimes in order to live, you have to take on debt. Full stop. Because you can't live otherwise. You can't have a roof over your head otherwise. You cannot pay your bills otherwise. Now you have to pay those debts back. Not always fun, but it's so easy to say, "Oh, just increase your income." If you increase your income, all of your problems are done. It's not easy to just increase your income by snapping your fingers or saying or manifesting it. And I'm a huge fan of manifesting, don't get me wrong. But I think looking at looking at some of the chat here. I'm seeing responses to um, so Marlene spent 1K out of her emergency fund. Good on ya. I know you don't feel bad about it. People pleasing and self-competition. Yeah, absolutely. Thought about taking 400 from emergency for I bonds. I'm in Australia. I'm not allowed to say anything about anything finance related, but you guys can have that discussion. Opportunity. I love that, Jojo. Opportunity fund. I love that. Wow. Don't you feel different just hearing that? Like the connotation between emergency fund and opportunity fund. Like emergency fund has a just a kind of like, "Oh," of, "Ooh." You always hear people always say, sorry, I get um animated at times, but people always say that they feel really bad, that they hated that they had to take money out of their emergency fund or out of their sinking funds, right? It's a big it's a huge mindset. It's a huge psychological hurdle that I have put this money aside and I've taken away from it because of like emergency and such, but opportunity, an opportunity fund. Holy, not going to swear on YouTube because I'm being good today. Marlene's watching over me. That is a brilliant title. Absolutely brilliant because it is there for you to use when the opportunity is needed. Love it. Love it. So good. Um, safer than investing. Yep, can't say anything on that. It's just hitting the fan feeling. Oh, did you see Netflix is apparently, at least in the US, is offering a basic, well, I'm not sure if it's in the US, but at least here in Australia, they're offering a basic service for, I think it's like $6 or 6.99 Australian, but you get ads, but it's still $10 cheaper. I'm like, I'll pay the extra $10 to not have the ads on Netflix. But I think Jojo, you have a really good point there in terms of having that label of opportunity instead of emergency, and that I think is another thing in terms of how we think about things and avoiding burnout, with with thinking about money and thinking about budgeting and thinking about finances. How long have we been using the same terms in budgeting as well? Because I know emergency fund has been around since Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey started in the 1990s, which some of you might not have been born then. My son was born in the in the 90s. But we have had the same terms for a lot of things for a long time. And they're also kind of ingrained. I think, um, in our mind, I maybe that's why people also use the term buffer as well, in that tried to meet Dave in Nashville in the late 90s. You feel old. Oh, Liz, I wanna see you get on the Dave Ramsey show and just Aussie it up. I don't think anybody could do a debt-free scream like an Aussie. Yes. Yes. Veronica, yes, she does. She has changed her sinking funds, to purpose funds because it's the connotation and, so I don't wanna sound like a teacher, but connotation is meaning that goes with a word, and so when you hear a word, there are you have responses to it. You have a emotional response to it, you have a physical response to it. You, there is something about words that resonate with a person, and if you don't believe me that words resonate, then here's a fun little exercise for you. Close your eyes and think of the name of a person that you really dislike. Hi, Shalise. Okay, so if you have done that where you have closed your eyes and thought of a person that you really dislike, now close your eyes again and think of a person that you really admire. And now think of the differences between your 2 reactions of when you were thinking of a person that you disliked and a person that you admire. You have an unconscious reaction to things. You have an unconscious reaction to words. You have an unconscious reaction to names. Like I hear the name Charles, I'm always going to smile. I think of my father. My father's name was Charles. I'm always going to smile when I hear that name. I actually have to keep myself in check when I have a student named Charles because I automatically have a positive association with that. And so with talking about an opportunity fund or purpose funds, and so Jojo using opportunity fund instead of emergency fund, and Tasha at Mind Your Money using purpose fund instead of a sinking fund. When you say sinking, right? Sinking, like I can even see it sinking. But purpose, a P has a smile. It- that changes your mindset and how you look at things and how you feel about things and how you approach using your money as well. Yeah, trigger words are called trigger words for a reason. And a lot of times we don't know what the trigger words are. It's it's all, a lot of it is subconscious. It's at an unconscious level. And the same thing with budgeting. A lot of like I said, I love the premise of Dave Ramsey. I do not like him as a person, personally. I just think he's mean. and some of the things that he says. And no doubt people will come at me and be like, no, he's just being tough love, uh, etc. But different different people respond in different ways to different terms, to different approaches. And if you find a term that works for you, use that. Change that so that when it gets to the time that, that you use that money or you have to draw on that money, um, you feel good about doing it. That you don't feel shamed for it as well, because I think that's another thing that goes into the burnout elements of things. Of, well, why do I just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again if all I'm going to do is just spend and spend and spend? Well, there's no way to not spend money in life at this, at this time. If you have found a way to not spend any money in the past 2 years, yet still have all of your bills paid, well, well done on that. So, I think that's the other thing is that where does a lot of people have, I think, a really tense relationship with money. And it can come from I think, a lot of different areas where that tension comes from. It can come from your upbringing. Do you have a scarcity mentality, or do you have a spending mentality? So scarcity is that you want to hold on to everything because you're afraid that you're going to lose it. Whereas if you have a spending or an abundance type mentality, it's more of a, well, if I don't spend it, then I'm going to lose it when I die. Marcus over at Debt Free Dad, he had a great, great life. I want to say it was last weekend, in that he had an estate up. So an attorney on, she does estate planning, and was talking about the number one reason why people do not come up with an estate plan or a will is because um, their biggest fear is that somebody is going to kill them for it. That not necessarily, I don't think it was necessarily somebody in the family, but that coming up with a plan for your money is also, I guess there's an element of vulnerability that comes in, that comes in with that as well. Um, Not there yet, changing terms, so because you have no self-control. I You know what, Cat, do it, do it in your own time. And here's the thing, if 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 those other terms work for you, stick with them. That's the other thing is, I just think that I just think that it is less a, single course, one item menu, and more of a buffet, to where you can choose what terms work, what resonates as well. And I think I think that's where a lot of budget burnout comes from, is that because we see so much of what other people are telling us we should be doing, how we should be thinking, that we've forgotten how to think for ourselves and how we have forgotten to individualize things for ourselves. So, um, just looking at the chat real quick here. Trigger words, difference between tough love and being mean. Yeah, there is. I do agree. Um, and I understand that y- that sometimes you have to use harsh words, but at the same time, you you need to read the recipient as well. Floating fund, boats float, and Lori, I gosh, I love you. Hi, Ange, Budget and Debt, welcome. We're just having a random chat around budgeting and burnout and labels and such. Change the way that you looked at challenges, use larger challenges as trackers to my goals, and use smaller challenges to pour into the larger one. I need the smaller wins. Yeah, small wins, definitely. I am hands down, doctor approved. Small wins, psychological wins, absolutely, absolutely are needed. It very few, I think, very few people can go without small wins, unless they're at an elite level. I mean, if you think about athletes, even, which is actually where the small wins, really, the psychology around small wins actually came out of sport, and how it came from both sport and then also from goal setting, goal setting. Lock and Latham back to the 1970s, working with uh, a tree milling farm, and how many trees could people cut down in a day, and building things up instead of telling a person to go out there and do your best. Well, here's the first thing. But at the same time, there's an opposite argument of that if you work with small wins, then the goalpost is always moving as well. Sean Aker, the secret, the something secret behind happiness. The surprising truth behind happiness. Really great book. Um, and he talks about reverse engineering the happiness equation, that, well, when I get to this point, I'm going to be happy, but then I'm actually not, because I have to get to the next point, and then I have to get to the next point, and I have to get to the next point. And if the goalpost is always moving, you're never actually going to achieve that happiness. You're never actually going to achieve what it is that you want. So how do you reverse engineer that process? Um, I don't know that I can put a link in, but I'll drop them in the description or something after the fact. But you can Google him. He's really funny. Tells a interesting story about being in Texas and Waco, Texas. And if you've ever been to Texas or know anything about Waco, Texas, you can imagine what the joke would be. So that's the only, I think, well, I won't say the only, but the one challenge that I can see with small wins psychologically is what happens when you run out of the small wins, right? Because the small wins are supposed to give you a dopamine hit. Dopamine is, uh your happiness, your pleasure, um neurotransmitter. And so I think actually that actually would tie into why um when people pay off debt, and I experience this myself, I had no more small wins. I was out of wins, right? I was like Wile E. Coyote who caught the roadrunner, and I was like, now what? Because I had been doing it for so long. I had been chasing those different, all of those different small wins all the time. Hey, Crystal, welcome. But I had been chasing all of those small wins, and it was like, okay, tick this box, tick this box, tick this box. And then all of a sudden I was out of boxes to tick. And then, I was like, oh, now what? I mean, I think I was actually more motivated when I was in debt than I am now. I think I have more burnout with budget now than when I was in debt. When I was in debt, I had a purpose. And it's not that I don't have a purpose now, like I have savings and investing and such like that. But it's a whole different quit eating your foot, dog. It's a whole different mindset shift as well. And that's probably and that's going to be one of my other topics is, um, what is enough? Because we get told that, oh, once you pay off your debt, well, then you go on and you do these things. But, you know, eh. So so yeah, I don't know. What are you guys's so how many goalposts how many goalposts do you guys have in terms of either savings goals, debt goals, etc.? Where does your goalpost end? How many times is it going to shift? When you die? It's a bit morbid. Only I'm allowed to make death jokes, Cat. Okay, so Cat says when she dies, which is a very long way down the road for her. Uh, Liz has said a plot of land in the country, and I'm assuming a plot of land and being plot of land that you're going to live on, not a plot of land as in a cemetery plot. Okay, and budget and debt, always going to be goalposts. There's always something that needs to be paid for. Heck, I've been trying to score for a while now. Um, Liz, yeah, cremation here as well. Um, Goalpost will not end until I do. I have a lot of work to get myself right in order to feel better about getting my son in his later path worked out. Victoria, I learned to celebrate the goal achieved, be proud of where you're at, then set the next goal because we always want to grow, but celebrate the victories. I want to make sure that my family is taken care of. You never know, is what Lori says. Do goals really end though? Yeah, do goals do goals ever really end? A bit existential there. Hmm. Well, if you ask Michael Phelps or read about his depression when he retired, he reached the pinnacle of, yeah, no, sorry, sex find. I get more than enough from my husband. I'm good. But hey, there might be some other people here that are looking for whatever it is you're selling. I don't know. Sorry, ladies, if you are looking for some lovin', this person told you maybe where to find it. I know I need to figure out how to add moderators, but I'm new to this. It's, oh yeah, they are whining, but I got distracted by the dude. Um, I'm assuming it was a dude by the bot. Michael Phelps, yeah, so reached pinnacle of sport, but still had nothing to chase. Yeah, depression does kick in. Um, Veronica, your son is a function child with autism. Want to feel good about him being taken care of the way I do for him. Goal for him to be more self-reliant. Victoria, 60s, 70s. I hope I'm still pushing myself to give more, gain more, just not weight. Yeah, none of us want to gain weight. At the top of our game, and it's still not enough. Translate that to goals in life. I don't know what it means. Always be working for something. All right, I'll add. Okay, let me. Okay, Lori, you're now a moderator. I didn't realize that's all it took was just like a click to add people as moderators. Why don't you people tell me these things? I always make everything so difficult. Um, when you go, you have goal. Yeah, you do have goals for the ones. Yeah, you do have goals for the ones that you leave behind. Um, yeah, Chris, you know I'm going to talk forever. I've only been on for an hour and 25 minutes. I've got another 3 hours to go. We're talking about death, dying, and goals. And do your goals die with you? See, Chris was the sex bot, and now she came back as herself. I can just hear her being like, "What? You did not." Whatever. Chris, we know you don't like me. But no, we're Chris, what we're talking about is with budget burnout and having constantly moving goalposts. And so when you achieve a debt goal or you achieve a savings goal, there's always something. Are you know, where do you ever hit the finish line to where you find, I guess, kind of like that happiness, that I achieved it feeling, versus when you do hit that, because one of the things that I had mentioned was when we paid off our debt, it was actually it was actually really rough because that had been the focus for so long. And Liz from Liz and Les, which Chris, by the way, if you don't watch her, you should. She's an Aussie in the US. Um, you'll love her. And she brought up Michael Phelps, Olympic athlete, and how I just picked people, Marlene. You weren't the first one that I picked. You were the second. Uh, Lori was the first. But how when Michael Phelps, huge Olympic athlete, swimmer, which her son is a swimmer as well. But when he retired and the depression and such that hit with that, because you achieve all of these different things and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore, and how that's a different type of emotional exhaustion um, that comes in budgeting as well. Is Yeah, that's kind of where we're at in the long winding conversation. How are you driving and listening, but at the same time you are putting in comments? Is that legal there? Can you guys use your phones while driving in the US? We have cameras here now that catch you, at least in Queensland. I'm not sure about the other states. Oh, you can talk to text. Yeah, but how do you okay, so if you use hands free. Oh, Desiree, naughty. Naughty, naughty. Yeah, well, Marlene, we know some people can break rules more than the others. See, my car does not let me do that. It Even when I'm driving. It hmm. Oh, see, this is how you know you are adulting, and that you are talking about money and budgeting, or just watching a random person on the other side of the world on a Friday night. My husband, however, is out potentially damaging himself, wheeling. So I gave up, see, because I scheduled this. This is how good I was. I scheduled this completely forgetting that my husband had wheeling arranged for us today. So I did not go wheeling, which means he's probably doing really, really stupid stuff that will result in damage, because I'm not with him, because my nickname when I am in the car is the handbrake. and that I'm the one that doesn't allow him to do all of the ridiculously stupid stuff that he likes to do that I'm not always comfortable with. So, 5-mile walk with the dog. Oh, Marlene, you gonna drink that place out of pitchers again? So, I forget Marlene can't talk. Um, Marlene, no, I won't tell your story. I'll leave it for you to tell. You go have those custom brews and have yeah, have a few on my have a few on my behalf, 'cause you know that I can't. Okay, I think we've yeah, now I'm kind of, like, at a point, I'm like, "Okay, so I've talked about kind of everything I had that I had planned to." So, I don't know. Anything else? Any questions? Any overspenders other than Marlene the past few months, with inflation? How are you guys handling that? I am in the camp of I'm in the camp of overspending myself. Um, and here's the thing though, is I'm not I'm not buying anything different. Like I'm buying all the same things. Like my grocery list and my household list is pretty it's pretty well set. We've added a bit because we've had a friend staying with us. But like the prices of things here are just like it's ridiculous. Tay, your bond cleaning, that means you're getting closer to moving into your house. Okay, so Tay from Tay Louise is here, and she finally announced to people that she and her partner Grant have bought a house. So excited. What? Yay! So I cannot wait. I cannot wait for all of Tay's vlogs for her setting up her house and everything else. I know. See, we're good. Marlene, we're good secret keepers. Not that we knew, because that would give away a secret of a secret. Uh, so Verona, Victoria Prepper, always been a spender because I couldn't have any. Okay, so you're on the you're on the other side, to where you went kind of from a scarcity to abundance, and then now you kind of have that, um, spend it while I can because I might not have it anymore, element for that. And, Victoria, you're in Australia as well, correct? Oh, okay, South Carolina, my bad. My bad. So then what are your what are your plans, or how are you looking at, um, reining reining things in, if you want to? Are you looking at, cash stuffing or just budgeting in general? And I do envy all of you that can do prepper pantries like Marlene has and such like that. Um, the one thing the one really nice thing with prepper pantries is how much you can actually prep for, but at the same time, they are not generous to people that have, dietary requirements. Like, we watch Marlene, and I say we because Kayla's here, so I have to mention Taylor in this. We watch her grocery hauls, and I look at the cheese and I look at the cereal, and I'm just going, oh, and like a lot of the pasta that she's able to get, and I just go, I can't have that cereal. I can't have that cheese. I can't have that pasta. Ooh, yay, my other secret.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a live.
Oh, you're doing a live with
People?
just talking to yourself.
No, I'm talking to people, and like there's 9 people.
Hey, 9 people. Why not 10?
Because you're not watching because you don't love me.
I also just woke up again.
Well, I don't know why you're sleeping in so late. Sorry, talking to my son. They're all
Oh.
saying hi.
I woke up at 11.
Come say hello and be nice.
Anyways, I'm going to go run to Mac. Do you want anything? Hmm? You want?
Text you.
You want?
Sorry. Um, real life distraction. Child. He has. Ah, Marcus. Marcus, I am so sorry that I wasn't be able to be at your live because I kind of did one at the same time, and I really wanted to see yours. So I sorry, I had a distraction from my son. 200 at Aldi used to get me a full cart. Yeah. Yeah, when you even see Aldi prices going up, like that's I mean, we don't have because we don't have like Walmart or any of that. Here we have Like, we have your main, like, the main, kind of like large grocery stores. So we have Kohl's, Woolies, uh, Drake's, IGA, and then Aldi. I think those are kind of the main 5. Oh, and Spar. Those are the main ones that we have here, and Aldi for the most part has been the lowest, but yeah, the everything, yeah, everything just keeps going up and up. So Victoria, you found that you actually reduced your spending by using your debit card. Most people are the opposite. How did you do how have you done that? Do you, like, do you have a set account where, because we have, like, the way that we have our bank account set up is we have a fixed account where, all of our, like, set payments come out, and then we have a second one, which is for our variable, which is, what we use for fuel and for groceries and for, like, dog food and such like that, and, oh, and Gary's beer as well, and so I found that once we split it into that, uh, we've okay, I said he, but I mean we have been a lot better at staying on budget, whereas with cash, it would be really easy to, what is that phrase? You rob from Peter to pay Paul, I think it is. But you take from one, to fill up another. Oh, Marcus, I would love to answer that question, but ASIC rules say that I cannot talk anything about stocks or finance because apparently I'm an influencer. Um, but spending a lot of money in that red area right now. Dropping a lot of money there, just not in, like, crypto and such. You know what? Maybe that's what they need. Because okay, so because we were talking about leave it in the account. It's actually my month ahead once it's gone. Okay. See, Marcus, one of the things that we were talking about earlier, was the words that are associated with budgeting that, sometimes get people hung up and lead them to, like, exhaustion and burnout and such as, so JoJo's DF Journey was saying that she doesn't call her emergency fund an emergency fund, she calls it an opportunity fund. Tasha at Mind Your Money doesn't use sinking funds, she calls them purpose funds, and how that change of word changes the mindset and how they see things. I wonder if something would be similar with stocks and investing as well. Hi, Champagne. Thank you for dropping in. Um, but if so, we're talking about how when we want to buy things when they're on sale, except when it comes to the stock market, that's when people go, oh no, 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 no. What do you guys think would be a way to go about a mindset shift there or a wording shift? And this will be the last question because we're coming up on 2 hours. So I'm going to have to bugger off here in about 15 minutes. But what could be different wording that could be used so that people don't feel, I guess, because that's the other thing is just like with budgeting, people feel pressure for that. They feel that it's labor intensive. With investing, there's also a feeling of pressure or things being labor intensive with it. Um, I mean, is automation the issue? Is it a changing of terms or labels? No, no, it's not. Oh God, I hate it's not a class. I just future cash, future stash. That would go with the prepper pantry. Seed seed fund makes me think about a seed fund always makes me think about a startup company and, like, entrepreneurial and capital venturist, investment core to me. Yeah, future peace. Yeah, Marlene's always gonna go to gardening, except for Marlene, it would be called the Deer Fund or the Moose Fund. Tasha, we were talking about you earlier and how you call your sinking funds purpose funds and how that really helps to create a mindset shift with when you have to tap into that money and use it so that you don't actually feel that like negativity of, oh my gosh, I'm spending my money, but that you're actually using that money for a purpose and that just changes how you go about seeing your money and spending your money. Oh, okay. You know I can talk for you know what? I could run this for the entire day, have people drop in and out. In fact, after watching Marcus and his live about, the whole side hustle and people sitting crisscross, what is it? Crisscross applesauce, doing crossword puzzles or studying for law and such like that. I'm half tempted to just like run lives for 8 hours a day while I'm just doing all of my normal stuff. Well, not my normal stuff, like normal work stuff, not like other stuff. That'd be wrong channel. Um yes! Yes, 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 and yes, absolutely yes. Yes. Oh, I get it. I get to have a tour. Nee, 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 nee. Um, sorry. Yes. I only got I only got I am okay, I cannot lie how excited I am for for Taylor and getting her first house. She is at she at her age, what she is accomplishing is just at her age, I was just going back to college and I had a 3-year-old. So that is just I am she's the same age as my son as well. So it's I kind of like feel like a vicarious happy mom um for her in in all of that. And she has worked her tail off. If you don't watch her channel, especially you won't see you won't see the you won't see you will see what she has achieved watching her videos now, but if you go back to when she started, you will see everything that she has done to get to this point. And you want to talk about side hustling and everything else, and there's so much that she yeah, that she has done to achieve all of that. I love seeing people win. It is it really is the best feeling to see people, we were talking about goals earlier, and you set a goal, you achieve the goal. Now, I think we kind of lost the discussion around how far does the goal post, keep moving? Do you ever stop setting goals? And I had said I think that'll be a discussion for another time is you know, what is enough? How do you know that you know, what is enough? How I know I am. But how do how do you know what is enough? How do you know that you've achieved enough? How do you Yeah, it's just I love seeing good people win. I don't like seeing bad people win. I've got a bad person that I don't like seeing win. But and I think that like with Tay, and she's not I mean, like, she's here, but she's not here to tell me that I can't say anything or that I have to shut up. But I think that she's also a really good example of how she of how she's balanced. Zach says I need to take a nap. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, no, but she's she's a really good example of how you can balance a budget for setting up for your goals, meeting your needs, and then also including uh, fun really in it as well. So not being entirely bare bones, not being entirely frugal for taking advantage of opportunities. Oh, fine. Failed to meet expectations. I used the wrong word. But she shows how she really does show that achievement of harmony. My bad, I used the word balance, the word that I don't like using even myself. but she really has shown all of that from the start, like, from the start of her channel, and including taking on additional debt as well, because she traded in her car, bought a new car, so she does have her car payments and such. And she is doing all of those together while also paying off her HECS, so her the equivalent of student loans here in Australia, which I still think that Taylor needs to do a entire video around explaining how student loans are in Australia as compared to the US, because there's a pretty big um, a really big difference, and I'm not the best at explaining all of that there, but she is so good at showing that, and she's also publicly discussed her, her multiple revamps as well, because that's the other thing. So going all the way back to the original topic, see, I can always manage to go full circle in terms of, when talking about budget burnout, is that your budget is going to change. It's always going to change. It's going to be fluid. And it's never going to stay the same. So when your situations change, your budget changes. And then as your budget changes, that changes the situation and the decisions that you make as well. And none of it none of it is ever set in stone either. I think that's the other thing, and that goes back to the entire topic around, pressure of, we see people, see you see DFD, you and her should do a live, having that discussion, because she's a perfect person for discussing that. Um, because it's such a difference in terms of stressors that people have here in Australia as compared to in the US. And that we don't have the, I mean, we have debt for, for school, but nowhere near what the US has for it. But yeah, it does. I think that's, I guess, probably going to be my final thoughts. Because yeah, it's almost 2 hours. I talk way too much. You're going to get tired of budgeting. You're going to get tired of your budgeting plan. You are going to question and that you come up with. The I Oh no. Jerry and his final thought. You are the father. Actually, I'm not. I am the mother. Okay, that butterfly just has me completely off in left space. Right space. Either space. Now I don't even know how to end. I never thought up an ending. And now I've been thrown off. I feel so lost. But no, um, because the entire point around all of this was supposed to be stay on. I can just see Chris. That was Chris, that was like us cheering you on to keep spinning, keep spinning when you were gambling in Vegas. Y'all gotta have something better to do on a Friday night than this. It's I cannot be the best option that you have. It's like, eh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. You guys need to give me a topic to talk about because otherwise I'm just gonna talk about random things that make absolutely no sense. And, Shannon's husband told me to go and take a nap. Victoria, you have friends. You absolutely have friends.
You didn't send me a message like you said you were.
Because I'm still on my live.
Well, I got you a quarter pounder and some fries, and it has cheese. Oh,
Oh, money with spouses, boyfriends, etc. Oh, you know what? Money with spouses, I'm actually going to save because Gary Gaz actually wants to do he actually wants to do a live Q&A type thing of things my wife does that annoy me with budgeting and how to avoid them basically after like so after he jumped on the live uh I know. Jesus. Yes, my son got me macas because I am starving. So this is what and it looks like that. And now my dog is here eating some of it. So yes, my son just what do you mean our packaging is different? What do you want to come say hi? Come say hi. Come on. This one wants to say hi because I got a burger and he thinks it should be his. And the other one. Oh yeah, no, he definitely wants my burger. What do you like what do your guys' look like? No, now I need to know. What do your burgers look like? Straight trash, greasy and sloppy. Oh, How is the packaging different? Oh, yeah, that does look. Hey, Peyton. Sorry, now I gotta. Hey, Gabba Gabba. That was so funny. My picture is like in the the picture that you sent. Yeah, no, that's guilty. That's what our quarter pounders look like. Look, it even has, see, quarter pounder. Mm. He was just running to Macca's and asked if I wanted something. And I was like, okay, yeah, get me something. And he was like, oh, you didn't tell me what you wanted. So he got me, because we have an ongoing joke um, with quarter pounders, because whenever my husband orders the quarter pounder, I'm always like, oh, with cheese. He's like, they come with cheese, mom, because he used to work at Macca's. So, mm. We also have an energy drink, in case you're wondering. See, here yeah, so here, it's called Macca's, like, in the US, they call it, McD's or Mickey D's or whatnot, but yeah, we just because we we change up everything. Hungry Jack's is our equivalent of Burger King, so they have, like, a Whopper and everything else like that, but they're called Hungry Jack's, not Burger King, and they're not actually owned by Burger King either, but why don't you like Macca's? Why are you anti-Aussie, Chris? Hey, Mel. No, I don't think that Hungry Jack's is owned by I don't think they're even owned by the same company, because it was oh, I watched a weird thing about it. By a weird thing, I mean a video, um, about the difference between Burger King and Hungry Jack's, and oh, yeah, the shake machine is always broken here. The shakes and the ice cream, that's a universal problem. You know the annoying thing with drive-throughs? is and this is whether it's for like for fast food or for coffee or uh I guess anything that you go through drive through for is if there is no, well, one, they aren't fast, no. But if you like I went to a coffee shop the other day and I went through the drive-through and they happened to be out of what it was that I wanted to order, which was an iced chai latte. There is no way to get out of the drive-through line if they don't have what it is that you want to order. So then I had to be like, "Oh, okay, well then I'm not going to order anything because there was nothing else that I wanted, and I wasn't going to buy something just to buy something." But then I had to sit there, supposedly, and wait. Um, but I also have a four-wheel drive, so I just ended up driving over um, the curb and maybe some of their plants to get out because I'm just like, I need a bailout lane. We don't have a bailout lane here. So mm, like I made my own and no, Victoria here it's to the left because we're on the left side. But how annoying is it that you get trapped in there because I'm not sure about the US. Yeah, they hold you hostage in the drive-through. Have you Okay, I'm not sure about in the US, but here in Australia, especially KFC for some reason, people love KFC. And there is a long as line for KFC. Like it blocks traffic, everything. I don't know why. Like Red Rooster, which I call Red Rooter, it does not have as long of a line. I do not know what KFC here in Australia is putting in their burgers, or not their burgers, their chicken. I don't know what they're putting in their oil, Jay and Silent Bob style or what, but like once you are in the queue, you do not you cannot get out of it. Like you are stuck there. I, yeah, I don't know why KFC. I was just happy that they finally got yeah. Well, see, if you've seen Jay and Silent Bob, you know what their chicken shack was, what they had. I swear KFC here must have something like that. But uh, oh, no, KFC here is the equivalent of KFC in the US in terms of food. But I guess crack level wise, yeah, it might be kind of Chick-fil-A-ish. Chris, Chris, why do you want to see why you want to see all of our different fast food? I like we actually there's not like a lot there's not a lot of different oh yeah, line and blocking traffic. Yeah. I've never ate at a Chick-fil-A or Chick-fil-A. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. But yeah, their lines are ridiculously long. I was just happy that Taco Bell finally came like but for their Taco Bell tried like multiple times and their third time. Yeah, I'm still alive. I swear, Lori, I said I was going to go, but people told me that I had to keep talking. And who am I to disappoint when I can talk heaps? Um, you like okay, so Aussie KFC. Um, you have two options basically, in that it's like you don't have and maybe they don't have it in the US anymore as well, but I remember in the US that you had original crispy and extra crispy. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the best part of KFC was always the biscuits because, I mean, biscuits, come on. They don't have that same option here. So you basically have like roasted or you have fried. And the fried you can get a bit spicy-ish, but they also you don't get a biscuit, you get a bread roll. So you don't even get like Australia does not have US style biscuits. So Australia has Australian biscuits, which are completely different. It's more like a scone. But we do not have US style biscuits. So like you know how you can go to the grocery store and you can get just like the off the shelf in the refrigerated section, the like the Pillsbury or whatever, biscuits where you peel them, they pop open and all of that. Yeah, we don't have that here. So you cannot get a proper US style biscuit or buttermilk biscuit, which you know what that means you can't really make, which drives my Montana husband crazy. You cannot have biscuits and gravy. No, I am not eating I nope, not sorry, Chris. I don't even like eating around people in public. I'm definitely not eating on on a live. But yeah, cannot get proper US style biscuits and gravy. No. I don't even know how to pronounce that. And it's just no. Sorry. Eating is I no. I will drink my energy drink. That will give me some caffeine. See, Veronica, that is the one thing. Oh, no, no, no yeah. It is just I am okay with people chewing, I am okay with people eating with their mouth open just because that is the way that a lot of different cultures eat and such. I am not okay with talking and eating. I am not okay with people seeing me eat. Um, I'm just getting comfortable with people seeing me. So let's just ease into this, people. Okay. We're taking it slow. It's yeah. So okay. So it is muck. Yeah. Mukbang. Mukbang. uh, mm. No, Chris, I have tried watching them. I can't. I can't. I no, no. It's not just a no. Like Kat said, this is a hard it's a hard no. It's like a full on, and it's just nope, nope, and yeah, like I said, not no. Oh my god. Oh, gross. Okay, when I read that, oh, like when I read that, that makes me okay, that makes me think of see, even my dog disagrees. Like, the first image that came to mind probably because of what I watched a couple nights ago. So if you're not in Australia, we have a show called Gogglebox, and Gogglebox is just basically people watching. So they film people watching TV and their reactions to TV. And one of the shows that they had on there was Dr. Pimple Popper. So, which is fascinating and grotesque at the same time. And that's about like when I so like with Dr. Mukbang, I just think like people eating watching Dr. Pimple Popper, and that's just, yeah, no. No. Nope. Yeah. No, it's no, I'm sorry. Like if nope. No. Next topic. So a topic other than pimples, mukbang, or mukbang, fast food talk. Ooh. Oh, no, no, I'm not. Not at all. No, Chris, you are the worst. You are the worst business manager for my channel. I am never hiring you. They are great. It's great content ideas. You know what, Chris? You do this on your channel. There. You just follow up on your ideas. You do that either on your channel or on your Insta live. And then and actually you would probably wouldn't be able to do it on YouTube. You would have to do it probably on Instagram, so that way you could watch Dr. Pimple Popper while eating and having a live. I wanna see you do that. I will I will pay money for that. Oh, good night, Victoria. Thank you so much for dropping in. I really appreciate it. Um, oh, one thing that I wish Australia had that I miss the most from America. Oh, that kind of yeah, that kind of goes back to refrigerated biscuits right now, because we were talking about food. Um, yes, grits. I I miss the grits, and I know I grew up in California, but my mother was from Florida, Daytona Beach, and so it's like grits was a standard breakfast and sometimes lunch, sometimes dinner for us growing up. That's that's a big one. Um, I wish we had cheaper prices on some things. No, I can actually, Lori, I can actually order them here through Amazon and then also through a USA Foods that they actually have a license to where they can send things. Red vines, that's my husband's. That's Gaz's favorite. He loves red vines. So yeah, you are two for two on that. I think that now what are some other things? What are some other things that I miss? You know, I think one of the really nice things in the US is because the US is so heavily populated, throughout. So you like if you were to drive through Australia, unless you're driving along the coast, because the majority of people in Australia live along the coast. Um, so if you're driving from point A to point B, you don't you actually don't see a lot of smaller towns. Well, you see smaller towns, but you don't see a lot of different areas like you have in the US. So when you're traveling through the US, there's so many different places that you can stop and that you can see. And there are so many off the beaten path type places as well in the US that you can just take a dirt road here, a dirt road there. Whereas in Australia, it's a bit more challenging to find some of those areas because I love getting into smaller areas and talking to people and such, but you have to drive a lot further to get those experiences. That's just a function of how the geography is here. And so to be able to get to, some of the more major areas, bigger areas, there's a cost and such involved. And we don't have, like Chris was talking about Frontier Airlines and how you can get a flight for $20 in the US. You cannot find that for the most part here. Everything is quite a bit more expensive. So it would be nice, I think, if we could have similar opportunities that they have in the US for travel to go and see, different areas at an affordable price and also on short notice as well. Because the shorter notice that you fly here, the more expensive it becomes. Um, yeah, so some of the food and the accessibility for travel, those would probably be two big things that I miss a lot from the US. Otherwise, it's really not much different living here as compared to the US. It's you work, you pay taxes, you take your holidays, you get annoyed at people in traffic and rinse and rinse and repeat for that. You're 2 months ahead on your mortgage, Cat. Awesome. Well done. Good job. Yeah, Laura, it does. It does take time for things to make their way here as well. Mail is and especially now that Australia has just temporarily put a halt on um, uh, imports from shipping lines. So a lot of people will ship things So when they send things, they'll ship them via sea freight as compared to air because sea freight is cheaper, and that's what a lot of people do who own small businesses and such heading into the holiday season. And Ozpost just announced the other day that they've got a halt on incoming sea freight just because of backlogs and such. So that's probably going to do quite a number um, on inflation and prices and availability heading into the holiday season, or as we call it here, the silly season, as well. As if we were talking about earlier, as if inflation and such isn't bad enough, and as if there haven't been bottlenecks in logistics and supply chains as is. It's going to increase for that. Just going back through. See, Chris, Chris, you are going to be doing a mukbang. I'm probably saying it wrong. At least it all rhymes. Um, I can see you doing that, and actually, Chris, I can see you out in public doing that and just making friends at different restaurants and just sitting down and talking with people and ordering your food and eating. Or I don't know that you'd be brave enough to eat their food because I know that you don't know if they've washed their hands or not, but I can totally see you doing doing something like that. No, you're not gonna sorry, you're not gonna see me do it. You wanna see me do it? Then you fly yourself out to Australia and we'll do it. Otherwise, nope, nope, and nope. Take you on a road trip. When is my next road trip going to be? See, here's the challenge with road trips and places that I go is that internet is usually really, really bad. And like I have heaps of footage and video of so many different places that I've been. Um, but putting it all to I just don't have the time to put all of it together. I would love to be able to go live from from some of our wheeling trips and when we're out on the beach and such like that. Because when I say that like we're out on the beach, we're like out driving on the beach and we're out at Bribey Island and Rainbow Island and Double Island Point and Kagiri, so Fraser Island, Morton, Stratty, when we're out in the mountains, when we're down in New South Wales and such like that. But we don't have the internet connection that is needed, and I a lot of times either forget to turn my camera on or just chicken out. That's why I have to go live because going live is the only way that I'll actually do things at this point. I might get up there, but good night, cat. Take care, and keeping you in prayers that you are going to be 100% tomorrow. Everyone's thinking of you and everyone's lifting you up, love. I know, Lori. I have, yeah. Hey, I've made huge improvements. I've taken a lot of big steps over the past year and a half, really getting out of my comfort zone. And yeah, we're not talking about budgeting or anything more at this point. Um, mhm. I just borrow my husband sometimes. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be trying to hide in Marlene's suitcase. She's going to have some overweight, some not over. Oh God, no, I don't mean it that way. But overweight because like the airlines only allow you up to something like 50 pounds or whatnot, and the normal human weighs more than 50 pounds. So that's clarify there. I wasn't saying like overweight as in like overweight. But she's gonna have a lot of people wanting to be in suitcases coming out here. But I don't know. It's I might be I mean, um I might be back in the US in 2023 as well. We've I've got uh looking at a conference that I have to be at there that it's looking at this point to be in Atlanta. So Georgia, which is uh uh I conveniently I was on Sabrina had a live earlier, and Desiree was on there, and Desiree was mentioning that she's in Nashville. My best friend lives in Chattanooga. So I try to schedule my conferences and where I go to be near people that I know and that I like. Because just because I know you doesn't mean that I like you. So I tend to go to Georgia, Florida, San Diego, just because I'm from San Diego, Vegas because it's fun, and Hawaii because it's Hawaii. I mean, you know, if you get an opportunity to go there, don't be so sensitive. I, I just don't want, but I know how the comments can be sometimes, but Taylor, you can go with me back to the US any time. And then I'll let you loose and you can just go and you can go and have all of you can go and have all of the fun that all of the fun that you want there. And I can probably put you in contact with people that can get you into a lot of fun or a lot of trouble or a combination of both, depending on what it is that you are looking for. Yeah, it's yeah, I get that. I know, Lori. It's you're the worst. You're so terrible. That's why I keep your card. I show it all the time, right above my desk. You know, look up at it every single day. You're such a horrible, horrible person. Oh, Taylor, if you are sitting at a roulette table, I am sitting right next to you because that is my game. Like roulette is that is my game. One 100%. I even told Chris what number she should place bets on if she played roulette when she was in Vegas. See, Chris, normally I would be at the bar, and usually the bar is really close to the roulette table. But then at the same time, if you are at the roulette table, they're coming through and they're giving you drinks quite frequently as well. But see, I think that yeah, no, a meetup in Vegas And Chris, see, that's where we need to have BudCon, is Vegas. And BudCon is for BudgetCon. Chris and I came up with this brainchild about a month and a half or so back. It's going to be on April the 20th. 69 people will be invited, and it'll just be a ridiculous. We'll find Chris wants to find a way for Bud Light to sponsor it. Um, the number of I think like the number of times that I've seen people on budgeting channels talk about having a meetup at a casino or such. I mean, I've seen it at least 2 or 3 times, but what was that? Bail money for USA. I yeah. I behave when I go back to the US. My like, honestly, my big concern with going back to the US now is just making sure that my travel insurance for medical will cover anything in the event that I have, any issues while I'm there. That's actually the biggest concern, and that's what my medical team, cautions me about the most because I have to go in, quite frequently, um, for having bloods done, for having tests done. I have to get blood transfusions, about every 2 months because my platelets drop so low. I have to get iron transfusions about every 3 months. And so that's the biggest concern for my medical team is that if something were to go southward, that I end up in a hospital in the US where I cannot get um, well, I would get the medical treatment that I needed, but at what cost? And would I be released to come back to Australia? So that's just that's the main issue for getting for getting back there. Hey, Marcy. Um, yeah. So the travel, like, it's not the travel so much that's an issue, it's the additional elements, um, that are the issue that go along with it. So that's why I said we're planning, we're looking at 2023, kind of a trial run, the see how it goes, and then, building building up building up from that and building up from there. It just depends how the health goes, and at the end of the day, annoying as it is, I, have to listen to my doctors. So that's also part of why, like I had, for a while there, I was, because Marcus told me that I, had to save up for vacation and such like that. And people were always like, oh, well, where do you want to go? And like my big goal, and this was a trip that we started thinking about and wanting to plan for. And we started thinking about it in 2018, um, and that's going to Egypt because I want to do a full archaeological, 21 day trip in Egypt where you go around just the different sites, and you stay at different hotels, but then you also travel along the Nile River, and you stop at the different pyramids and everything else along the way, and the historical, elements to it. That's those are the kinds of things that we've had to, that we've had to put on hold until, um, I I wish that we would have done it, even if it would have put us in debt. I wish that we would have done that when we wanted to, instead of saying, "Oh, well, let's wait until, let's wait until, let's wait until." And that's also part of, I think, where we get annoyed, with our, you know, with our budgets and everything else is we see how much we're giving up, but we're not always necessarily seeing what we're gaining. And then at some point, we might realize that we're actually not going to be able to gain the things that we deprived, deprived ourselves for. Um, that's I guess a different perspective on things as well. There's sometimes are when you have the opportunity for an experience and you don't take that opportunity, and once it passes, it never comes up. It might not ever come up again. So that's where, like with Tasha calling them purpose funds or JoJo calling it an opportunity fund, and taking that negative connotation away and making it a more, how do we make it a more positive, making it a more positive experience, really. Even just with budgeting of, making it as positive of an experience as we can, because it is a lot of times looked upon, so negatively as well. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am more like Laura Croft. Thank you very much. Definitely, definitely more Laura Croft than Indiana Jones. He doesn't like snakes. I mean, I love snakes. I had snakes before coming to Australia. Had a 7-foot Burmese python. Name was Nomo. It was great at Halloween because would just he would just wrap around my arm, and that would be what I would hand out candy to kids with. So handing out candy with like a live snake on my hand. Oh, it was great. Kids loved it. Parents hated it. Um, that and Laura Croft is just, oh, rose-tailed boa, beautiful. Oh, I want to see pictures. You're gonna have to put pictures up or send me a picture. Yeah, no, I love, except, like, I don't like snakes, I don't like deadly snakes, that's the only thing. Like, we had a brown snake, that we found in the backyard, just the other day, and both of our dogs, like, we've trained our dogs are they're snake trained, they're snake aware, and just like they're cane toad aware, so they know, uh, they know what they are, and they also know to stay back from them, and then they just bork, bork, bork a lot at them. Um, yes, I will message you when I'm done. I swear, I said I was gonna be done an hour ago, but I'm still talking because Chris told me that I had to keep talking, and at some point, I'm just gonna learn how to shut up and quit talking. Um, but sometimes yeah. But yes, absolutely. You keep unpacking, and I get to get a sneak peek. Love you, lady. See, Chris, you're a bad influence. I should drag you into this again, except that, I'm not on StreamYard, so I can't do an invite on this one. Otherwise, I would drag you back in this. I do self-care. I know, I need to get my nails done. They're a bit raggedy. Um, This is my self-care, actually, and going to the beach. I go to the beach every morning. I do my walks there. What else do I do for self-care? I do my swimming. Pilates is another one. I get massages every couple weeks. I get Botox, which is starting to wear off. So need to get more of that done. Um, so I do a lot more self care now than I used to do, um, than I did before. What are you guys doing for self care? What's the last nice thing that you did for yourself? At a doctor's office? So we have like doctor's offices and such. Oh, forehead. Because otherwise, I have like a really wrinkly forehead, and I have uneven eyebrows. Because I have a stronger eye than the other. So yeah, I get that to even them out. I can just hear Chris. She's like, "Duh." I mean, on your body. Yeah. So just forehead, a little bit around the eyes. Nothing down this way. I actually want to get because I gained so much weight and lost so much weight with all of the ascites. Um, so I the next thing that I actually want to get is like all of this lifted because I'm really extremely self conscious about my turkey neck. Um, for that, I love along. Do any of you guys ever do any of you guys ever take a ginger bath? Because I love a ginger bath. Doing nothing, eating, and falling asleep on the couch? Absolutely. Oh, and bonus points if you are watching a cheesy movie. Extra bonus points if it's a cheesy movie from the 90s. Like an extra bonus points if it's from the 80s. But I love like my favorite I call them like my favorite days are husband free days. So my favorite days are when like Gaz is gone and Peyton is just like playing his games and such like that. The dogs are happy, just being sploofed out on the floor doing nothing. And re- Chris, you do not watch Real Housewives. There is nothing real about the Real Housewives. The only thing real is how much they paid for their body parts. That was real money that was spent, unless they put it on a credit card. Then it wasn't real. There, made it budgeting related. Oh no, Real Housewives is not cheesy. It's cringe. That is just that's right up there with oh, I don't know. Might some people might not like this, but like Real Housewives is right up there with Kardashians. Chris, it is cringe. You like I I have never watched okay. So to be honest, I have never no, I am not taking it back, and you can't make me unless you get on a plane and you come out here, and then I will say it to your face, and I know that I'm taller than you. So, I have never watched an entire episode. I ha double down. See, doubling down. Real Housewives and Kardashians. Yeah, no. You just like you I think the only way I would be able to watch that was if I was in the shower so I could just get the ish off of me from watching it. Ew. Yeah, no. Nope, no. Those are 2 that I can hand on heart say that I have never seen anything more than a trailer or a commercial for them. No, I am not taking it back, and you can't make me. So, there. I can see Chris's next reel is going to be this. She's gonna be like, "She said what? I don't like that Erin girl anymore." No. I do though actually have a I do I do have respect for them as businesswomen. That that I will say. I have respect for all of them as businesswomen in that yes, they've had connections, they've had assistants and such like that. But in terms of what they have been able to go on and do, and how they have managed to brand themselves and continue that on is actually very, I think, very impressive for them. And I think that that's a lot from things that they learned from their mother, and then also from their father slash mother as well for it. So I will give them 100% credit on that. As for their reality personas, not a fan, which is why I don't watch their shows. Same with like Real Housewives and such like that. Um, I just, if you are trying to think of the wording, yeah, I think it's the best that I can phrase it is that it's not that I dislike them as people, but their personas that they have that I am not a fan of. Now, they had like a Real Housewives of Sydney or whatnot. I'm just I am not a reality show. I'm not a reality show type of person. Probably why I don't watch any TV because there's nothing on TV anymore other than like 20 different types of reality shows. I mean, here, like, what do we have? So similar to the US, we have The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Voice, Australia's Got Talent. We get the American versions. Oh, we have Australian Survivor, which is actually, you know, hasn't been too bad the past few years because they've actually done it in Australia. The Amazing Race. I used to watch it in the US, but not here. We have all the different like building shows, like The Block. Um, we have the cooking shows, My Kitchen Rules, Master Chef. Um, we have Farmer Wants a Wife. That's another one that we have here. I'm sure there's, like, heaps of others, but I just yeah, it just doesn't like, most reality shows now, they'll hold my attention for the first series, and then after that, because everybody watches the first series, and then they start figuring out how to go about things, how to play the game, how to manipulate it. Like, I think the next new one starting here is called, The Traders. So you have a whole bunch of people, and like there's 4 traders that are amongst them, and they have to figure out it's almost like so if you're a gamer, it's kind of almost like Among Us. If you play games or if you have kids that play games, if they do, just ask them what Among Us is. You basically have to figure out who is the imposter. So that one looks kind of interesting because I like anything where people can be sneaky, conniving, and cutthroat the first time around. But otherwise, I would like I don't I know yeah, Jojo, I'm still here. I swore I was gonna be gone an hour. Actually, I swore I was only gonna be on for an hour, but Chris is a bad influence, and Chris is making me continue to talk. Um, and it's only what? It's only 1 o'clock here, so but, like, I actually spend more time what reality shows do you guys watch? Like, what is your number 1 go-to? Stop telling people what? Chris, what am I supposed to stop telling people? That you told me that I have to stay on? No. Own it. Okay, I'm not saying that Chris is making me talk, but I'm also not saying that Chris is not making me talk. What is what is Top Chef? Is Top Chef like Master Chef? Like where you have a whole bunch of people that are in the kitchen and they compete each week? Okay, Veronica is sending me pictures of her snakes, and one of them is named Falcor. So, anybody else know where the name Falcor might have come from? They are beautiful. He is, and I'm going to assume that is what the name came from. Is that correct? Veronica? Is Was he named after Falcor from the Neverending Story, the luck dragon? I love that movie. Oh gosh, I'm old. Remember when he runs and he hides up in after he steals the book and he hides up in the attic and he lights the candle and the nothingness is the saddest. Especially when the and Neverending Story 2 was horrible. Like there was not much good about the Neverending Story 2. Anybody who comes onto this is going to be like, "What the heck? This is not budgeting. What is she talking about?" It's like, "Welcome to my random world." They are I love them. We can't have like, we're not allowed to have snakes here. You know what else? You know what you cannot have as a pet, um, in at least in Queensland? Okay, who did not cry when his horse died? Like, seriously. That was the that was the saddest part. But you cannot have a rabbit as a pet in Queensland. Oh, I don't know, it's kind of in the title, but I guess I can change things up after things are done. Because I'm leaving this one up. This one's staying up. I'm not blubbery, bawling, crying in this one, so yeah. I'll change up the title afterwards, I can do that. I don't know how to do it now, I'd probably close out the entire thing, which no, they're invasive, and so you can have them in, like, New South Wales and such, but yeah, I figured Belle and Beast were from yeah, were from Beauty, but Falcor jumped out, to me because, I mean, it's Falcor. I'm a love dragon, and he's got his big ol' ears, he's like, "Mm." So, um and I know any of you that have ever watched the movie are hearing that song in your mind right now as well, the theme song to Neverending Story. I know, I saw that about Angela Lansbury, like, how sad, hey? So many good people lost this year. I mean, what, we started it off with Betty White. I mean, we knew it was gonna be a bad year after that, and then my father loved Murder, She Wrote. Like, my father loved he loved, mystery, uh, mystery type things in general. That's actually it's because of my father that I actually got into, gaming. So, like, playing D&D and, role play games and such like that because there was always some kind of a riddle or something to solve in that, and, like, we used to play, god, forever, not that I can age myself because I've announced my age, but on the Commodore 64. there were, those original text-based strategy type games where you had your different clues and you had to, figure things out and looking at, patterns and such. It's just, it was all, like kind of part of, similar, like I loved, Nancy Drew books growing up. Not so much the Hardy Boys, they were, mm, but just, looking at things and figuring things out and like noticing patterns and such like that. So, oh, Hagrid from the Harry Potter movies. I didn't see that one. Oh, bugger. Now I want to get snakes again.
Snake. I heard snake. If you get snake, is it going to be over, right?
Oh, my son's weird. Alrighty. Um, I should. Yeah, we've been on for 3 hours. It's after 1 o'clock. Um, my husband is going to be home hopefully shortly. He sent me some pictures of things that he is up to. So I still, Veronica, I still very much prefer text-based games to to animated. No, Chris, I can't stay. I've actually got to get going. Um, but I'll be back in. I I'll probably be back on next. Like I think next week. The week after that, I can't because we've got something else. Actually, what is next week? No, next week we won't because we'll be out camping and we'll be out at Go Topless Day, which means that Chris, I am not going to be able probably to attend your costume party. But for those of you that are here, Chris at Budgeting Just Because, she's having a Halloween costume party. And so she's going to have that as a live, and her lives are just an absolute hoot. And so she's having a party and is going to have prizes and such like that. So definitely go check out Chris at Budgeting Just Because. Check out her channel, see when that is. And even if you don't want to take part, you can always just be a lurker and just log in and look at people and everything that they are doing. I'll like I said, I'm not really doing any cash stuffing or anything right now. I'm just not keeping any cash or anything in the house just until we get this crazy random, well, it's not a random person, we know who she is, but get her taken care of and feeling a bit, um, I get, a bit safer and more secure with that because yeah, just kind of prioritizing safety and such first here. kind of on the budgeting front. So the cash stuffing and all of that is on the back end. I actually did talk about budgeting and burnout and such earlier, but otherwise, I will see most of you that have channels in your comments, whether you see me there or not. I will be on your channels. And just, yeah, you guys all have a great night. Thanks for sticking around on a Friday night as well, or a Saturday morning slash afternoon um, if you're here in Australia. And I will see you guys all the next time. Thank you so much. Love you all.